What is up, YouTube? Welcome to WeSibs, West Coast, East Coast siblings. Walking Dead is back. Season 10 just continued with the first episode after the mid-season finale. We're going to get into our three biggest takeaways as always, but first let's give a little bit of reaction. So, what did you think of the episode?
Honestly, I thought it was a pretty boring episode for a mid-season start-off. Like, if this is supposed to be what's going to get us excited for the last 8 episodes, I don't think it did a good job. It does set some things up so we know kind of where we're going, but like, I don't know. I didn't think it was great. It was a great, like, random episode, but I don't think it was a good mid-season starter.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's the issue that you have, though, sometimes with doing mid-season finales, because the next episode is like a premiere. People have been waiting and building up anticipation, so it's kind of like a season premiere. If you don't deliver, people are going to come away from it feeling like, that really sucked. Whereas if they didn't have a mid-season finale, it just would have been the next episode after a huge episode, and it would have been received a bit differently.
Yeah. Now we want to get into the 3 biggest takeaways from this first episode of the second half of the season, which is Negan and Alpha getting down all naked.
Let me just say, that was so disturbing. Were you not grossed out?
Yeah, I wasn't so grossed out until they actually showed their naked bodies. Because before then, it was kind of like, okay, we get the implied nudity. But then somehow seeing them being butt naked, dirty, and in the woods with her, like, mask on, I was like, this is, like, too much. Like, I just...
Yeah. That was super creepy, but there are definitely some major implications for this. As you know, there will be a whole bunch of questions swirling around. Is this an allegiance that they're forming, or they're both two types of characters that you really shouldn't be trusting anyway. Who do you think is going to come out on top? That's a poor choice. Let me say that again. Who do you think is going to be taking advantage of who? Yeah.
Well, I think they're taking advantage of each other. I think it's kind of weird because Negan was already siding with Alpha. He already told her that he wanted to be on her side and on her team and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think from the beginning he's been kind of trying to infiltrate Alpha and the Whisperers, but I don't know to what end. So to me, it almost seems like he's agreeing to sleep with her because this is going to give him some extra edge in whatever his ultimate plan is.
Yeah.
I think Negan is taking advantage of Alpha in this mind game, and I think even though Alpha thinks this big step of her sleeping with him is going to be something, I think Negan is like, oh, well, I wasn't planning on using you this way, but I can do that too.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one part, that Negan is definitely going to use this to his advantage, but I wouldn't go as far to say that Alpha's not going to use this to her advantage. She knows that Negan can't be trusted, and so if she's sleeping with him, you have to remember, Alpha's not a gullible person. She didn't get where she is doing that. So she's very aware that she can't trust Negan. She doesn't trust anybody. I would still think she has a trick or two up her sleeve. I
think she's like using him like she would use anyone else. And I think that's her mistake because Negan's not anyone else. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree. I think this definitely is, it's funny how even after this scene, I don't think anybody's going to come away from this thinking that there's some sort of love situation going on. Immediately, we're thinking, okay, how are they going to use each other or try to use each other? Again, poor choice of words.
Yeah, and honestly, what do you guys think Alpha's motivation was in even sleeping with him? Like, she says it's a thank you, but I think she's playing a game.
So guys, let us know down in the comments below. So from there, we want to move into the second biggest takeaway, which is, guys, Connie and Magna have been trapped under the mine. The rest of the gang thinks that they're dead. We know that they're just trapped. So this is kind of the cliffhanger that they left at the end of the episode. What was your take?
I thought something was going to happen with Magna right when I think she told Aaron that she had been fighting with her girlfriend and she didn't want to leave things the way that they were, and that's why she was in a rush to get out of there. So in my mind, I was like, oh, she's going to be the one who dies in this. So to just have her trapped under a bunch of rocks is an interesting take. I think it would have been better if she died, just because that's The Walking Dead. But
yeah, I mean, that's honestly what I took from the episode as well. They were playing with everybody dying. Every character pretty much in this episode at one point fell off of something or slipped or was cramped in some area. So it was kind of a disappointment that nobody really died. I mean, we have Connie and Magna stuck in the mine, but from the angle that we saw, they're not dead. It didn't collapse on them. And so in another way, I think this mid-season premiere is kind of disappointing in that they really played like they were going to off somebody by the end of this episode, and it just didn't happen.
So our third biggest takeaway, and this could arguably be one of the biggest things that happens this season, is Carol and Daryl's relationship going for the rocks.
It's up in the air.
But here's the thing, right? We know Daryl is loyal. Like, no doubt. You don't doubt Daryl's loyalty to people. So even at the end of this episode when Carol is like, oh, like, you know, say it, it's my fault, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't say it because he loves Carol. And even though, you know, Carol has put Connie in this situation now, stuck under these rocks, he chose Rick over his brother. So, like, he loves seriously. So I think it's one of those things where I think Daryl's always going to forgive Carol.
I totally agree. I honestly think this is a de-evolution of Carol's character. If you look at both Daryl and Carol, they both kind of came from two different, you know, walks of life and ended up being the same level-headed people. Daryl was reckless. He was the little brother. He had a lot of angst and stuff. Carol, she was the abused wife of, you know, a horrible guy and then lost her daughter. Just a whole bunch of mess. And they both came to a point where they were so strong for the show. They were so, you know, just level-headed and nothing really shook them. And then, obviously, it makes sense. Carol just lost her son, and so she's kind of relapsing really bad into just being reckless and not thinking things through. I remember being so angry at the end, at the mid-season finale, with her just running off, because I'm like, this isn't Carol. But then the more that I thought of it, I'm like, okay, no, she's actually just lost her kid, and she's probably completely relapse into what she used to be. So I honestly don't think that their relationship is in any serious danger in the long run. But no, I think this is a big blow, though, for sure. But real quick, if Daryl ends up, you know, cutting her off, excommunicating her, that would open things back up with her and the king. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways that they could play it.
That's a good point. And when she took Connie's hand, or when Connie took Carol's hand and was like, you are, I was like, oh my gosh, is she pregnant with the king's baby? But like, okay, clearly I had gone from 0 to 60. I don't think she had seen the king in like 8 months. But no, you make a really good point about Carol having lost her son, and so that's what's kind of sent her off in this de-evolution, because her losing Sophia is what turned her into the Carol we love. And it's almost like the death of each child. It's like the death of Sophia turned her into a warrior. It's almost like turning her back into the person that she was. Very reckless, very emotional. And a little selfish.
Anyway, guys, that's our thoughts on this new episode of The Walking Dead. Let us know in the comments below, as always, what your thoughts were. We'll hang around in the comment section to chat it up with you guys. Be sure to like the video if you like the video, and subscribe, and even click the bell if you want to stay up to date on all the WeSibs content. We cover a variety of movies and TV shows, so if that sounds like a good time, again, subscribe and click the bell. Also, check out our sister channel, The La Quente Ledger. Links to everything will be down in the description below. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. Peace!